Hey, what's up, investors? Welcome back to Alpha ETF, the coolest YouTube channel for all things exchange-traded funds. I'm your host, and today I'm going to review one of the most popular ETFs in the world, the Spdr S&P 500 Ucits ETF. This ETF tracks the performance of the S&P 500 index, which is a basket of 500 large-cap companies. You know, the ones that make all the money and dominate the world. Like Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, and Google. Well, actually two Googles, because they have two different classes of shares. But who's counting? Anyway, this ETF is a great way to get exposure to the US stock market, which is still the largest and most influential market in the world. But is it worth investing in? Let's find out by looking at 5 key criteria: expense ratio, fund volume, volatility, sector/country/theme exposure, and performance. For each criterion, I'll give a score from 0 to 10, where 0 is terrible and 10 is awesome. Then I'll add up all the scores and divide by 5 to get the final rating for this ETF. So let's get started with the first criterion, expense ratio. This is how much you pay every year for owning this ETF. It's like a fee that covers the costs of running the fund and tracking the index. The lower the expense ratio, the better for you as an investor. The expense ratio of this ETF is very low, only 0.09%. That means you only pay 9 cents for every $100 you invest in this ETF. That's cheaper than a cup of coffee or a pack of gum. In fact, it's one of the lowest expense ratios among all ETFs that track the S&P 500 index. So for this criterion, I give this ETF a score of 10 out of 10. It's hard to beat such a low fee. Next up is fund volume. This is how much money is invested in this ETF by all its shareholders. It's an indicator of how popular and liquid this ETF is. The higher the fund volume, the better for you as an investor. The fund volume of this ETF is very high, almost 5 billion euros. That means there are a lot of people who trust this ETF and want to own it. It also means that you can easily buy and sell this ETF without affecting its price too much. So for this criterion, I give this ETF a score of 10 out of 10 as well. It's hard to find a more popular and liquid ETF than this one. Moving on to volatility. This is how much the price of this ETF fluctuates over time. It's a measure of how risky this ETF is. The lower the volatility, the better for you as an investor. The volatility of this ETF is moderate, around 20%. That means that over a year, you can expect this ETF to go up or down by about 20%. That's not too bad for an equity fund, but it's not too good either. It means that you have to be prepared for some ups and downs along the way. So for this criterion, I give this ETF a score of 5 out of 10. It's not too risky, but it's not too safe either. Next up is sector/country/theme exposure. This is how diversified this ETF is across different industries, regions, and themes. It's a measure of how well this ETF captures the overall market trends and opportunities. The higher the exposure, the better for you as an investor. The exposure of this ETF is high. It covers almost all sectors, countries, and themes in the US market. You get exposure to technology, healthcare, consumer discretionary, energy, financials, industrials, materials, utilities, real estate, communication services, and consumer staples. You also get exposure to different regions within the US, such as West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, South, etc. And you also get exposure to different themes that are driving innovation and growth in the US market, such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles, social media, and more. So for this criterion, I give this ETF a score of 9 out of 10. And finally, we have performance. This is how well this ETF has done in terms of returns over time. It's a measure of how profitable this ETF is for you as an investor. The performance of this ETF is good. It has gone up by a lot over the past few years. Your money would have more than doubled by now. That's pretty impressive, right? So for this criterion, I give this ETF a score of 8 out of 10. It's good, but it could be better. Now let's add up all the scores and divide by 5 to get the final rating for this ETF. 10 plus 10 plus 5 plus 9 plus 8 equals 42. 42, 5 equals 8.4. So the final rating for this ETF is 8.4 out of 10. That's a pretty good score, don't you think? It means that this ETF is a great option for anyone who wants to invest in the US stock market with low fees, high liquidity, high exposure, and good performance. But of course, this is just my opinion, and you should always do your own research before investing in any ETF or any other financial product. So what do you think of this ETF? Do you agree with my rating? Do you own it or are you planning to buy it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Alpha ETF for more awesome videos like this one. Of course, past performance is not a guarantee of future results, but it does show that this ETF has been a solid performer over time. Until then, keep investing and keep learning. This is Alpha ETF, signing off. Peace out.